Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. So the weekend just gone, I was invited by ACCESS Karting to go do a kart race in a 100 UK car, which is also known as a TKM. Now, I've not driven one of them for at least a decade, so it's a right eye-opener. Now, I did have videos for the practice, but they've corrupted in the weather, which you can see in a minute is shocking. So the first thing you need to know about the TKMs are they have direct drive, which means you need to run, jump in them, and hope they start, and also hope you don't fall over. So this is heat one. Like I said, the practice didn't record very well, so this is heat one. So line up fourth on the grid here into heat one. Green flag's gone, straight into P2. A little bit wide on the first corner here, and my kart once again being direct drive bogs down quite badly, so there's second ahead of me. You can see third place just drives away down the straight, keeping it nicely to the outside, trying to stay out of trouble here. And then, wow, absolutely sent. Drop back to P16 here, and if you remember from a minute ago, if you stop, you've got a bump start. So Clay coming out the hairpin has a uphill run. The engine wasn't warm enough. I'm definitely not young enough anymore. I couldn't get it going, so I had to drag it off the track, and that was heat one done. So, being it was the old style of karting, it was also the old style of rules. So you had a front, a middle, and a back for your heats. They give you an average score, and that is what your starting positions are, unlike modern where it's qualifying. So that was my front, which you can see went fantastically. So this is now heat two starting. There's Seb. He came down to help me. Not really a lot of help regarding pushing the car. And here we go. Failed attempt. Number 3 already after 2 races. Here comes James to help me, the actual organiser of ACCESS Karting. So in heat 2, I had a starting position of 10th place on the outside of the grid. So we've had issues all weekend. I'll say all weekend. All Saturday with the brakes. We couldn't get them how I like the brakes. The brakes in the car I was lent were extremely long, and it just doesn't suit me. So I started 10th, up to P8, dropping back down to P9 there, O-play, so you know he's a fast boy, up on the inside. Through the chicane, you can see how wet it is. It's miserable, it was horrible, the weather was not nice. So still in 9th place here, going around a lovely wet clay. So, like I said, because I've been rushed a bit before, I haven't driven TKM for at least 10 years. I probably haven't driven a kart on wet tyres for 6 or 7 years. And I only got there that day. I mean, it sounds like I'm making a million excuses here. And I am. Basically, that's what racing drivers do. But that's my excuses out of the way now. So you can see I'm in P9 here, and I'm chasing down the pack ahead of me. Now, 51, you might have seen a clip of him in the previous one. He was the guy who accidentally took me out at the first lap. I mean, he did find me after the race and come and apologise to me. So I'm going to get past him nice and early, send it up the inside, up into P8. Weather, as you can see from this video as well, gradually got worse throughout the day, and 48, the car in front of me and him, every single race, we were battling, we were the same sort of pace, we were there or thereabouts against each other. So you can see the super wide lines here in the wet, trying to find some traction. Now I was driving a Gillard kart, which is probably older than most of the people watching this video. Had all the old style pods, as you can see, the big square pods. The frame had the diagonal pod bars, which I'm guessing is from at least 2008 before, so it's nearly 20 years old. And the engines, TKMs, their actual model number is BT85. And there's no prizes for guessing what the 85 means, but I'll tell you anyway. It means they were designed in 1985, which is actually older than me. I know, shocking. So what's that make it? 85, I was born in 87, 36, so make 39 years old. And with my amazing maths there, it distracted me as I went up the inside, so got up to P7, and the guys cut straight back on me, dropping me back down to P8. So you can see coming into this corner here how early I have to let it off because we couldn't get the brakes working how I liked it. Luckily, kart number 5 gets a bit wide and I can get the front hooked up and around back into P7. Still chasing down the car ahead, number 48. And just another apology here. As I've been recording this voiceover, I've noticed that the sound quality here is getting muffled massively. I'm actually turned the kart engine noise on the GoPro down to 15%, and it's still so loud. The old beasts are so much better. They don't have all the silencers like they used to have. So P7 here, still chasing him down. Looking to get a bit closer because the pack ahead is starting to close up a bit. But sadly, if you look on the top left, that's the checkered flag. So heat 2, I've gone from 10th to 7th place. Hopefully me and Seb, well, I say hopefully me and Seb tried our best to sort the brakes to get how I like it. And we went with hopes in heat 3 that we had it sorted. So heat 3, about to start, as you can see. Giving it another bash of starting on my own. 48, the guy ahead of me, he struggles as much as I do. Does he get it going? I think he probably does, but I don't. Still not young enough. Here I am, waiting. More people coming to help me. Oh, there's James again. Looking at me, he's like, what a disappointment this guy is. So we've got the kart going. And now to catch up with the field. So, starting heat 3 in P12. This is my backish of the grid start. Get a good start there. As you can see, the spray is getting worse every race. Up to P11. You can see my friend with the yellow pods just ahead of me. He sneaks through on number 51. I sneak through on 51 up to 10th. Straight pass into 9th place here, coming down to the hairpin. Hoping for a bit of carnage, but these guys, they don't do carnage. They know that the karts, if you stop, that's your race done basically. But I did manage to get past yellow pods, which I've got to learn his name. I don't know his name. So I'm in P8 now. Coming towards the last corner of the first lap at Clay. As you can see there, the top 5, I think it's 5, I think it's 7, 6, yeah, top 5 have checked out in the first lap straight away. The spray's getting worse. I'm hoping to get past these 3 karts ahead of me. That's the aim. I was aiming for, well, realistically I was aiming for a podium. I wanted the pot this weekend, but as you can see from the heats, it didn't look like it was happening. But the final video will be coming up in another video. I would have done it all in one, but my computer was having a meltdown. It wouldn't let me do it. So I'm now trying to overtake kart number 80. He hadn't had a wetsuit all day, so I think he eventually had enough of being cold and wet. He just got a over jacket, so I've dropped back down to P9 as my nemesis, 48, overtakes me. Coming down into turn 1 again, before I could have a little look. It wasn't on, so I moved back in to try and get a better line for the chicane on him, where he's gone straight for the move on the 80. You can see. Just watch him go off. That's 1 position gain there. That's an easy position gain there. And let's put him out of the race. So the guy who I've been racing with all day is out of the race. So that's a nice, easy, free position to take. So I'm now working on number 80. Now I was a faster driver, but when it's wet, it didn't really show up too much. You can see the big lunge up the inside. Then he cuts back on me. So I've dropped back down to P8. I was looking to stay on the inside there, but you can see the yellow flag, so I've had to back out of the move, following him around. And the wet weather, if you have brakes, it's easy to overtake. But if you haven't got brakes, like one excuse coming up again, it's hard. You've got to wait, you've got to try and pressure people into mistakes. So I could keep getting this guy to go wide. I kept running out wide to try and squeeze him, but he just kept keeping the nose in. I couldn't do it. And he nicely blocks me so I can't get the cut back. Still chasing him. Still hoping for a miracle that the brakes might start working. As you can see now though, the karts have disappeared. So I'm chasing P8, and realistically with 5 minutes to go on that timer, that looks like all I'm going to be able to get in heat 3. once again, he goes wide. I can keep it tight and get onto the inside of the curb here. And I think, yeah, I've got a great run on here. He's looked over his nose on there, so I know he's not going to chop my nose off. I'm hoping he runs wide and I can cut back on, which I do. Once again, try and run him out wide, leave him as little room as possible, but he's managed to stop and block me so I can get the undercut again. Now, it was a great drive by him. Really fair, we didn't have any contact. I sent a big lunge on the inside and it's my turn to stop and block his cutback. It was my turn to do it and I managed to get stuck. So now I'm in P7, chasing down P6. This was a few minutes later. I eventually caught up with him. You can see now coming up to the horseshoe, right on his bumper. Nice run through the horseshoe here. Managed to get the front right hooked up onto the curb. And I'm closing. I'm coming for him. He don't know what's going to get him. He does. It's a middle-aged man, balding heavily, wearing a pink crash helmet. So I cut as much of the inside curb there as I can to try and get the front to hook up, and it did. So I do it straight again through the chicane. Hooks me up perfectly there. Gives me a great run. He moves to the outside to go for the wet line. I drop to the inside and once again trying to run him out wide. I didn't know he'd cut back on the inside, so I'm still left on the inside, still trying to give him room. Hook up on that curve here, and I'm hoping that he drifts out wide, which he does because he couldn't get the angle in, and that's a nice P6. Got a couple of laps left to catch him. I give him the hand signal saying don't fight me, we're faster, let's catch him. P6 with P4 and P5 ahead, but we're running out of time. Can we get them? Can we work together and get them? As you can see, I realised that taking the grass was working, so I was taking as much as I could, really getting as close to P5 as I could. That was the closest I could get to him in this race though, sadly. I was trying everything I could, hoping that those two would start battling, but it didn't happen. Now, I finished the race in P6, sorry. So I have a finishing position as 16th. Whatever my second heat was, P7 and a P6. And that puts me on the grid 11th for the final, which does come up in the second video. Now, once again, thank you to James at ACCESS Karting for lending me a car. Thank you to Sebastian from Apollo Karting.
No brakes.
Spanner.
Yeah.
You hear me moaning about the brakes. It was not going
I couldn't get past that guy.
But Seb
I didn't have the brakes to
tried
stop.
our best
To overtake him.
see what happens in the final in the next video. Thank you for
It
watching.
looked better.